ABC's Alex Brochet now, former Republican Congresswoman Barbara Comstock of Virginia, and also former Democratic Senator Heidi Heitkamp from North Dakota. Alex, let's start with you. A huge night tonight on the Hill. You're there. Describe what it's like right now. What should we expect throughout the day?
Well, Kira, I mean, there's certainly an energy here, and certainly any time that we have live shots from the Rotunda here in the Cannon building, usually it's populated, but I mean, there's a lot of action going back and forth, not just with reporters, but also lawmakers. We've seen that all morning. But for tonight, I mean, this is going to be the first of a series of hearings laying the groundwork for basically the January 6th Commission's investigation thus far, and they're going to be making their case in prime time to the American public today, connecting the dots or laying out a roadmap to try to connect the dots between political actors and the people who committed acts of violence on January 6th. And we know that we're going to hear from two witnesses at least today. John mentioned Nick Quested, who is that documentary filmmaker who had unprecedented access. We've seen a lot of his footage. We're going to see some footage that has never been seen before tonight. And then also we're going to hear from the first officer injured that day, Caroline Edwards, who was 31 at the time. She was the first officer injured that day of the attack. We're going to hear some testimony from her. But again, I mean, this is about this committee laying the groundwork to answer a key question. Was there a connection between the political actors, between President Trump and his inner circle, and the folks that carried out violence that day?
Was it coordinated? That's one of the key questions I think a lot of people have. Barbara, I'd like to ask you about the Republicans. Look, in an incident of this gravity, whether it was Pearl Harbor, the killing of John Kennedy, or Watergate, or 9/11, there's been congressional fact-finding, essentially to lay a record down and inform the people about what happened. That's usually bipartisan. Not this time. Republicans called the committee illegitimate for many reasons, including the fact that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi blocked some of their appointments, including some members who have since been subpoenaed by the committee. So first, are the Republicans' concerns about the fairness of this committee legitimate? And what does it do to what this committee is designed to accomplish?
Well, the committee is bipartisan because Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger are very conservative Republicans. They just happen to also believe in the rule of law and the Constitution. And I work at Baker Donaldson now, the law firm of Howard Baker. So yes, I certainly do mourn for the days when these kind of events were bipartisan, but I think you're going to see very bipartisan witnesses. Somebody like Judge Ludig, who is a revered conservative constitutional scholar, is going to come before the committee. He was the lawyer who advised Mike Pence that he couldn't do what the president was asking him to, and not certifying the election. And he's somebody who even Donald Trump was considering for the Supreme Court, and that Federalist Society always revered. So he certainly is going to be somebody who can say, yes, this committee is legitimate. He wouldn't be appearing before it if he didn't think it was. Of course, already the Supreme Court has required Trump to turn over documents to this committee. So, the idea that this is anything other than legitimate it's sad to hear Republicans saying that. It's the kind of thing that during the Clinton administration, when I worked on the impeachment and investigations there, you'd hear Democrats like Henry Waxman try and change the subject and say things like this. So they have nothing to really attack the facts. But we're going to see what Trump and his allies were doing, and it was inciting violence and trying to stop the count, while you had many conservatives like Judge, like Bill Barr, like Pat Cipollone in the White House counsel's office, like people in the president's family who were saying, stop, you have to do this. And then during those 3 hours when he did nothing, remember, Trump Jr. and many other Trump supporters were saying he's got to do more. So the president, Donald Trump's, former president's, dereliction of duty will be in very high relief. And I understand why some Republicans don't like to face that, but they need to face it now rather than continue to allow him to drag the party down.
And Heidi, what do you think about that, the pushback from Republicans? And also, what do you think about the timing of these hearings and the fact that they're choosing prime time?
Well, I think it's absolutely critical that they choose prime time, because the dialogue tonight is going to be, this was not an accident. This was not unscheduled. This was planned, and it's planned by people who have not been in the political mainstream before Donald Trump. I mean, I always say Donald Trump didn't invent right-wing extremist groups, but he invited them to the party. He invited them to mainstream political dialogue, and this is what happened. The Republicans' efforts at this point are nothing to see here. Let's move on. You know, let's divert attention away from what is, as Terry said, a very, very significant moment in our history, probably since the Civil War, the most significant challenge to our democratic system. We can't move on until we understand how it happened, why it happened, and I agree with Barbara. This is bipartisan. There are brave Republicans who have stepped up.
Heidi, can I follow up on that? And Barbara, maybe you two, if you can get in. Just what difference does it make in a country as divided as we are? Heidi, I'd like to ask you, because as an elected official, you represented all the people of your state. That state's changed some. We've all changed. And it seems like we don't even share the same reality. So if part of the goal of this committee is to lay down a record, what impact can it have on a country that doesn't see facts the same way?
I've seen polling on what happened January 6th, and I think there's a lot of Republicans. There's a reason why they don't want all the facts to be explored, because for people, even people on the extreme right, extreme conservatives, they watched this and they said, I don't like that. I don't like any of this. And you've got to remember the images, every image you're going to see tonight, there will be a Trump sign there. There will be a piece of memorabilia that reminds us that these were people who were acolytes and people who were joining Trump. But more importantly than that, for conservatives who believe in the rule of law, people like Barbara, people like Liz Cheney, this has to be done in order to prevent it from going further in the future.
And I think it's important. Yeah, I think it's important because it's an ongoing threat. The ongoing threat of election deniers who are running for office. Fortunately, some of them, like Jody Hice, who ran against Brad Raffensperger in Georgia, lost, but there are still others there. And I'm so proud of people like Brad Raffensperger, a Republican who voted for Donald Trump, but would not accede to his illegal demands to just make up votes. And now he will be testifying before the committee. And after surviving an assault, politically and personally by Donald Trump. And he is a brave soul, and God bless him.
Barbara, Heidi, Alex, thank you all so much. We'll all be watching closely, and ABC News will also carry it live tonight. That hearing starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.